We buy things we don't need, with money we barely have, to impress people who barely notice. But what if it's not really about status or lifestyle? What if it's about longing? What if we're spending because deep down, we're desperate to feel seen, validated, loved? Could the receipt be our proof that we matter, even if just for a moment? Marketing doesn't sell products, it sells emotions. A watch promises confidence, a car whispers success. A designer bag tells the world, I'm worth something. Every purchase becomes a performance. And in that performance, we chase a feeling, the feeling of being important, respected, adored. But are we actually filling ourselves up, or just covering the emptiness with prettier wrapping paper? We live in a world where loneliness is a billion-dollar industry. Self-help books, luxury retreats, relationship apps, each one tapping into the ache of disconnection. But none of them offer permanence. They're just bandages over wounds that demand healing, so we consume. Not just food or fashion, but lifestyles, influencers, dreams. We consume to become something someone else will finally want. A credit card becomes a kind of love letter we write to ourselves. You deserve this. But the interest isn't just financial. It's emotional. Every swipe carries hope, and regret. We spend to feel alive, then spiral into guilt. It's a cycle of false comfort, brief joy, followed by a quiet void. And we rarely ask, why do I crave this in the first place? Children are praised when they receive gifts. Lovers are forgiven with jewelry. Friends apologize with dinners. We've confused love with transaction. And the more we associate worth with what we can give or buy, the more invisible we feel when we can't. Suddenly, love has a price tag, and those without means are made to feel unworthy of affection. It's not that we're shallow, it's that we're starved. Starved of emotional safety, meaningful touch, authentic connection. And capitalism noticed. It offered replacements, fleeting thrills dressed as fulfillment. The dopamine of a new purchase mimics the high of being loved, but it's synthetic. It fades, and we go back to the store hoping maybe this time, the emptiness will stay gone. We post our new outfits, we unbox our gadgets, we showcase our dinners, but is it really about joy or about proof? Proof that we're interesting, proof that we're desirable, proof that someone, somewhere, might envy our life enough to give us their attention. And when the likes fade, we refresh the feed, hungry for the next affirmation. Our homes are cluttered, our closets are full, yet we feel hollow. Why? Because you can't buy belonging, you can't purchase purpose, and you can't Amazon Prime your way into intimacy. These things require presence, vulnerability, time, but those are slow, and we've been conditioned to chase fast, shiny, numbing. So we keep spending, not because we're greedy, but because we're aching. There's a reason therapy is rising while shopping addictions surge. We're not just trying to look good, we're trying to feel good. And in a society that often withholds unconditional love, buying becomes our self-soothing tool. But just like sugar, too much consumption doesn't heal the hunger. It spikes, crashes, repeats, and the soul remains unfed. Even childhood plays a role. Were you only praised when you achieved something? Only hugged when you brought home good grades or helped clean the house? Then perhaps now you buy success to chase that same feeling. It's not the handbag you want, it's the moment someone finally says, I'm proud of you. We just hope the brand logo screams it louder. And if you grew up around scarcity, maybe spending feels like freedom, like revenge against poverty. But are you truly free if you have to keep buying your way into comfort, into love, into respect? When did love become performance art? And who told us that looking lovable was more important than simply being loved? There's a danger in equating worth with wealth, because then the broke feel broken, and the unseen feel unlovable. But love isn't earned through price points. It's not a luxury item. It's human, messy, unfiltered. And when we reduce it to what we can afford, we dehumanize ourselves and each other. So we must ask, What does love look like without money? What if love looked like listening? Like presence without expectation? Like touch without transaction? Like forgiveness without flowers? What if we taught our children that being is enough, not just achieving, acquiring, impressing? What if the next generation grew up knowing that their value isn't tied to what they own, but to how they love, how they show up, how they care? But that's a revolution, and revolutions are uncomfortable because they threaten industries. Imagine a world where people healed their wounds instead of shopping for distractions, where connection replaced consumption, where validation came from inner peace, not external applause. That kind of world would be bad for business, but it would be beautiful for the human soul. Until then, we remain trapped, in debt, in shame, in curated digital lives that mask emotional bankruptcy. But deep down, many of us know what we truly long for isn't found in the checkout aisle. It's found in being understood, being held, being accepted as we are without needing to perform. That kind of love isn't for sale. It never was. Still, the world keeps spinning, the ads keep playing, the algorithm keeps tracking, and we keep scrolling hoping to see something that feels like home. Something that reminds us who we are. Because somewhere between the packages and promotions, we've forgotten that love was always meant to be free. Not cheapened, not sold. Just felt, fully, truly, quietly. The solution isn't to stop spending, it's to start noticing. What am I really buying? What feeling am I chasing? What hole am I trying to fill? And is there another way? Can I pause before the purchase? Breathe, reflect, call someone instead. Journal, walk, connect. Maybe the real medicine is presence, not packages. Maybe love begins with attention. We don't need to hate money, but we must stop confusing it with affection. Gifts can express care, sure, but they're not substitutes for presence. You can't pay your way into emotional safety. You can't spend enough to erase abandonment. Healing demands truth, and that truth often begins with admitting, I don't feel loved, and I'm trying to fix it by buying things. It's okay to want to feel special. But let's question what makes us feel special in the first place. Is it the object or the meaning we attach to it? Can we start attaching meaning to moments instead? To eye contact, to undivided attention, to silence that doesn't feel awkward, but sacred. That's love. That's currency no economy controls. And if you've been using spending as a way to cope, don't shame yourself. You're not broken. You're responding to a world that often withholds softness. You're adapting. You're surviving. But survival isn't the goal. Thriving is. And thriving requires asking new questions, building new habits, finding new sources of joy. Maybe this episode is your first tiny step. What if the next time you felt the urge to buy, you did something radical instead? You texted a friend. You wrote down what you're feeling. You danced. You cried. You sat in stillness. You asked yourself, what would love do right now? And maybe the answer won't be a transaction, but a transformation. Because real love doesn't need receipts. It needs honesty. It needs space. It needs people willing to look at each other and say, you don't need to prove your worth to me. Imagine hearing that. Imagine believing it. Imagine living as if it were true. That's the kind of wealth we all deserve. And that's a richness no credit card can offer.